Well, here we have I believe an early 60s. We'll know when we get to the inside. Ludwig Symphonic model, they call this. White Marine Burl. And what we're discussing today is a better way to put snares on these when you don't have the originals. So we'll get right to that. And we're back. Welcome to another edition of Vintage Drum Restoration Garage. And today we're talking about Ludwig. Here's a 1956 Ludwig catalog. And the drum we're talking about is the Symphonic snare drum, 6.5. The 5.5 was called the Buddy Rich Super Classic. And when they dumped, when Buddy Rich dumped Ludwig, they took away the Buddy Rich and just went with Super Classic. But back then, Ludwig was Buddy's choice for a short time. They don't show the butt plate on these drums. So, what are you going to do? And here is the throw off here. So, we're talking about how to install snares on these drums today when you don't have the original snares, and I've found my method works pretty well, even though it's not totally original, but it's almost original. So we'll get to that. Okay, well, Troy brought this drum over today, and this is the incorrect way to install snares on this model drum. These snares, which are really hard to find, should go over the edge on both sides, I believe, or pretty close to over the edge. And the first version of these classic throw-offs, or P87s, actually had a different butt plate. Let me get that and I'll show you what it had. Okay, now I was looking at some catalogs on Drum Archive, and it shows, I believe, the 1960 Ludwig catalog. And unfortunately, they don't show the butt side on the drums. They just show the, the throw-off side. And so I was looking in the parts in the back of the catalog, and it didn't show a butt plate other than your basic Ludwig script logo butt plate. I forgot the number on those. You know the number?
I don't know.
Doesn't matter.
Is it a 32?
Maybe, yeah, it probably is.
I think it's a 32.
But in all my parts, I remember seeing these butt plates on these drums early on, and this might have been, could be a WFL mid-50s, not sure. Now these holes do not fit the butt plate, so you can't just put that on there. But early on, this part would have been on here, and the snares would have went all the way over on both sides. And somewhere along the line, Ludwig scrapped that idea and just used a regular butt plate, because this drum definitely came with this butt plate here. And then later on, I believe late 60s, 70s, I don't remember when, they started going with this butt plate. And then you'd have all the screws here to adjust the snare wires, which was kind of cool. And once again, I don't think that fits the butt plate, the holes. Actually, it does, but we're not going to change anything on this drum. This is the way it went. I'm just going to give you my version on how I would set up this drum. And I totally disagree with these kind of snare wires. I don't like them. They're, for one, the wire gauge is too thick. It should be a lot thinner gauge. The wire coils per inch might be a little bit stretched out. Now, I've got some other wires that we ordered on eBay. And you can see, excuse me, you can see that the wires per inch is about 7 coils per inch. Look at these. Now these are about 5 or 6 coils per inch. Makes a big difference. And look at the difference in gauge. Look at how thick these are. And look at how thin these are. It's going to give you a different sound. Now, we didn't have the original wires for this drum, like I said, so Troy was pulling his hair out. And I said, well, let me try to do some investigating on eBay and see if I can just locate some wires. And I asked a few questions to a few people that were selling, they called them 15-inch wires. And so I asked them to measure them exactly from the hole to hole. And they did. And so I knew about what I was looking for, because this side has a hole here to screw the snare wire in. On this side here, you got either or. You could put a screw down the middle if you had that kind of butt plate, which we don't, or you can use the 2 holes to run your snare cord through. So there's a few people on YouTube explaining how they set up these drums, and I'm going to give you my take, because I disagree with them on how to set up these drums, and I'm going to show you the way I do it. So Troy's going to take these heads off, and we're going to mess around with this drum a little bit. Oh, by the way, these are the snare wires. This 14 5/8 H. This one here. These are the ones that really are called for on this drum. You'll see there's a little notch cut out of the corner here, and they have 3 holes on each end. These are actually the, where am I? Oh, 14.5. So we're putting 14.5-inch wires on this drum, and 14 5/8. This H one is what it calls for. But they're really hard to find, these wires. H. Where am I? These are the ones right here. Or wait. Right here. 14 5/8. Those are very hard to find. So we're going with the 14.5 ones, just for your reference. Okay, and here's a 1975 catalog that I have here. And there's that Symphonic model snare drum. And I was talking to you about the butt plates. And here's that butt plate that I showed you. And you would have the snare wires adjustable little screws here inside of here, which was a really neat design. It didn't go over too well, but it was a good one. Hey, we were just looking at this drum, and what's amazing about this one is this is a pre-serial number drum. There are no serial numbers on the badge. So this is right after the transition badge. I don't know, 61, 62, I don't know. You guys who know these serial numbers will be able to chime in, but I'm not sure when they started putting serial numbers on. But I know this drum has chrome over brass hoops. Both of the hoops are chrome over brass. And I also know that this snare throw off, I guess I restored this drum for Ronnie, who owned this. Troy got this off Ronnie. And I guess I messed around with this throw off. I can't remember doing it, but so I guess we're not going to need to mess with it. And what we were noticing, we got 3 different wires here. I ordered a couple, and then Troy ordered a couple. And this set here is a pretty good usable set. This set here is, what you got to look for on these is that it's twisted. You see it's twisted, and it's not going to get a great sound being twisted, so you got to watch out for that.
It's also missing a wire.
Or it's missing a wire. And this one's not twisted too bad. I kind of like this set. Originally, these Symphonic or Super Classics did have the plastic ends. Now, these wires probably would have been on a parade drum, a 15-inch, but they're the right length. So, we ordered a couple sets, and we're gonna just we're gonna go with it and try.
So historically speaking, there, bud, too, Pure Sound Evans did, based on my research, they did make new replacement wires for these.
Mm-hmm.
They stopped making them, I think, 10, 12 years ago. Boy, and if you find a set of those now, there's guys on Reverb and eBay charging $120, $150 for a set of wires.
Well, it's probably because they didn't sell many, right?
Well, I mean, how many people have this drum in that throw off the P87?
Exactly.
You say P87 and people go, huh? What is that?
Let me put this thing on the stand, and I'll bring it in. Okay, now I've got this this plastic end one on here, and the snare throw off is off, no tension, in other words. And we've got this screw up in here. Can you see? Yes, you can see. There's the screw, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to drill a hole in the center of this one here, between these 2 holes here, and we're going to mount that onto here, onto this throw off, and then we're going to put snare cord on there and see how we like the sound of that. So I'll bring it right back. Okay, so we've drilled our hole in our one side of the snare wires, and I've got my screw here, and it fits that hole just perfectly. And we'll run on through, and put her on there. Can't see very good, can you, Troy? Okay.
Here's what I think we need to do. We need to move it out.
Okay, yeah, good idea. Can you just put it on? There you go. Luckily, you only have to do this once. Hopefully. Is
that'd
it
be
going
nice.
in there?
Yeah, it's going in.
Cool. Now, just like on clamshells, there's, I'll just show you what I'm talking about here. The distance between this snare and the top of this roller doesn't necessarily mean that's where you want your wires. You might actually want to stack up a washer underneath this to get it to buzz just right. But we're not there yet, but I'm just explaining that. And you can see right here, look at how it's taken a little bend. Mm-hmm. But we're going to live with that because these wires are really hard to find, and they don't straighten out. So, where was that cord?
Yeah, we could recycle that cord.
Oh, this is a good cord.
Crappy wires, but
Crappy
chord.
wires. Go on a crappy drum really good though. Like a Ruther or a CB700, perfect. Hey, did you guys see where Sean's drum cave? He's got a great YouTube channel. He's over there in Boston area.
In Mass.
Yeah, and I'm in contact with him, and he's a real cool dude. Check his channel out. Anyway, he was checking out, I think it was Facebook or something, and he saw some guys go in this park.
Oh, you're talking about the Vista lights that he found.
Yeah, and they were in this. He went in this park, and well, no, he went there to because this guy showed some drums just laying in this park, and so he thought, well, I kind of know where that is. I could tell by the surroundings. And he went there and he found these drums laying there all over the place in like a homeless encampment. It was amazing. So, yeah, some like Bonham.
Amber Vista lights.
Yeah, Ambers, yeah. And, oh, this is what I do with my wires. I bring them back through. I don't know if you guys would like to do that. No, and I always shut my wires off so I don't get them too loose. I don't want them too tight yet. And so, yeah, and also there was, I think, the remains of a Slingerland set from the 60s.
Yeah, there were some other people. I'd have to rewatch it again, but he...
I mean,
the whole
it almost seems like a setup, but no.
It wasn't.
Sean wouldn't do that.
No, and you can tell him the whole time he's going, I can't believe this. I can't believe this. I can't believe this.
Yeah, and he barely cleaned them up, and they looked amazing. So, good find, Sean. Really, really glad you found those. God, what's amazing is now they're not gone forever because that's what it would be. Okay, so I think I've got these wires too tight here. So what I do is I don't pull a cord. I just loosen these up a little bit. Are you watching? Yes, you're watching.
Yes.
I loosen this up just a little bit, and then I turn the strainer on and see them pulling up on their own. And they're pulling up on their own just enough. Then I tighten them.
Real crafty.
Crafty.
And mature.
Very mature. Experience. And then here we are. Okay, this drum's way too loose. But if you like that muddy sound, that's fine. Do you have a pair of sticks? No?
No, I didn't bring anything.
I don't have them.
I didn't bring anything useful today, bud.
Okay, well, let me... Hey. There's a CB700 drum key.
Nice. Let me go put this on eBay in a package deal with the wires.
Right. Okay, so a lot of guys get their drum dial out and everything. Not my scene. I tune by ear. And, oh, by the way, my experience is, and I use deeper drums exclusively. I mean, I have shallow drums, but I have a lot of deeper drums, 8-inch drums, 7, 6.5s. And my experience is the deeper the drum, the looser the head, the bottom head. Well, both heads really. And so I've heard guys like, you'll watch these videos on eBay and someone's demonstrating a drum.
You mean YouTube?
No, on eBay. They have little videos of them showing what the drum sounds like. That or YouTube, right? And invariably they have like a deep 8-inch snare drum and it's tuned way high. I'm thinking, you're defeating the purpose, friend. Anyway, there's that tone. Low. Those are pretty close. Low. Oh. It's still low. So I just go between them till I get them. You're not going to get them perfect. All right, that's pretty close. Okay, this top head's driving me nuts. Troy didn't bring any good heads over here. The bottom head's okay. This top head, Ludwig head, is not that great. I don't really dig that sound.
What do you think on that, Bruce? A dip or an ambassador?
Oh, I don't use diplomats on anything, but I'm not always right. I like ambassadors on both sides.
Yeah, okay.
And some guys use these Aquarians and they dig them too. That's fine, whatever you like. But yeah, I'm not so sure. Let's just give it a quarter turn all the way around. Let's listen to it a little bit better. Hard to do without a stand and a drum set. It's hard to tune a drum just on the bench. It's getting a little bit better. I'm thinking. It's hard to tell with that terrible top head, but here's what I'm listening for. I'm hearing like an after buzz. Hear it?
Yeah.
Hear it buzzing?
Uh-huh.
That's telling me
That the snare wires have been twisted? Or that maybe the snare wires are sitting too high off the bottom head?
that could be. Well, there's nothing you can do about too high. But can we?
Experiment, but disengage the snare wires and see if you can get a totally clean tone. Do the wires drop all the way out? I'm curious on that P87.
Yeah, let's try it. Yeah, they do.
Oh, nice. Okay.
I mean, that's pretty good right there.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got these wires going here. I'm telling you what, we've got two sets of wires. Let me switch these out for the metal ones, and we'll bring her right. I went and got some sticks just because I wanted to get an idea of how this drum sounds, and man, it sounds really good. Okay, when I test drums, I always hit the rim and the head at the same time because then I'm going to get as much ring as I can out of the drum. Or you can dead stroke it if that's what you want, but I want the ring. I want to hear how the drum is, blending with itself. So it sounds pretty good, and then we're going to try these other snares and see what we think. All right, so now we put these metal wires on. Now, what's the count on the wires there? Troy? These are 20s, right? Or what are they? 18s? 20s.
18.
18?
Mm-hmm.
And these were what, 16 or?
Couldn't say. Didn't count them.
2, 4, 6, 8. These are 12 strand. So you're dealing with a lot more wires on this drum now. Of course, you can adjust this a little bit more too. I don't know, that might be a little bit warmer sound.
I would agree.
I don't know. I think that these might be a little bit more my cup of tea. I dug the other sound though.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't sure. What do you think?
So look.
And you can adjust these wires with this knob here.
I might be getting some rattling out of the tone control.
Yeah, that sounds pretty good right there. I don't know. I'm thinking these metal ones might be, a little bit warmer.
Yeah. Then again, you can see they're not perfect.
And they're not perfect. Is anything though?
Man, don't even get me started on that. You can't have anything nice in this world.
No, you can't.
Especially if you take it out and you park it way out on the cheap sheet, someone is still going to run into it.
Mm-hmm.
Busted up my truck. Not even the third payment made.
So, what I guess the long and short of this video is best to get wires that'll. What are the length on these?
I thought it was 14 3/4. You were saying.
Yeah, I like to get wires that are meant for this job. These are 14. The overall length is 14 and a half.
14 and a half.
And so, and normal wires, 12. What are they? 13. I don't know.
Well, for a 14-inch drum, they're 13.
Okay, so these are like 13-inch drum wires.
Mm-hmm.
So you want, obviously longer wires. They should go over on this end, and then on this end, they're just shy like a regular one. So I guess that's what I'm getting at. Having short wires on the drum is not going to give it its sound, in my book. And so I got on eBay and found some wires that'll work, which are terribly hard to find. And now this drum is pretty much back to where it should be.
Yeah, it's pretty close. And FYI, if any of you are of the super sensitive variety, Pure Sound still does make those replacements, those factory replacements. Well, their version of it. But these, you're going to have to do what we did, or you're going to have to do a real jerry rig job. There's probably 4 or 5 videos on YouTube that show the real jerry rig way.
Mm-hmm.
It'll get the drum up and running, but it's certainly not pretty.
Okay, so hopefully this helps others. And
interesting, though. You know what I'm standing here thinking? We got sort of a baseball bat type of a throw-off arm here, and the tone control on this is a regular knob, rotary.
yeah, because it's an early one.
A lot of people
these,
think the baseball bats were first. I guess they're not.
No, they're not. This is the oldest one. This is the one when they started making those chrome over brass shells. What was that, 59?
Something like that.
And these are the tone controls that were on them, and the butt plate always said WFL on them, on these early brass drums. And so, no, I actually prefer these tone controls better. And let's take this head off and fix this tone control real quick. I'll bring it right. Okay. Well, when I was looking through the bottom of the head there, I was noticing how crimped up this tone control is. I'm not even sure it's the right control on here, but I surely know that the knob is right. The tensioning knob is right, but I'm not so sure about this, because they were spring steel, and this isn't this is some kind of a, I don't know. Let me take that off and let me see if I've got the right tone control.
That's a cheeseball repro right there.
Yeah. Boy, to anybody else, they wouldn't be getting this tone control, but my old buddy Troy, he lucked out. I happen to have one. The way you can tell these tone controls, the original ones, is they have like a gunmetal black, and they're spring steel. And this one that came off of here, this is your typical one off of like a CB700. A POS, and here's your Ludwig one, and you can just tell the quality is just not there. It's the same pad within range, but I think we're going to go with this original one. Let's see if it'll fit on there. Oh yeah, that's nice. And it's got that kind of look too. Can you find the
Right
oh yeah, go ahead and put her on there. And so I don't use tone controls ever, but I know my buddy Russ, he goes out on gigs and he uses them. And I know other guys who use them just to calm it down a little bit. What we used to use is our wallet back in the 70s when we were playing disco and funk and all that. We had we put our wallet on the top head and give it that big fat sound.
Nowadays, for all you whippersnappers,
Mm-hmm.
we use our cell phone sometimes.
There you go. That'll work. any kind of weight. Anyway, I think this tone control will work. I'm not quite sure yet. I just don't think that's the original one, because it shouldn't bend like that. You know, there were always spring steel, and this one just bends, and spring steel doesn't bend. It keeps its shape. How's that doing now? Will that go up and hit the head? I'm kind of wondering.
Let's give it a whirl. I didn't tighten it all the way up yet.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know if they made different ones for these drums or not.
All right, let her go.
I mean, does it hit the head? Does it come up and hit the head? Because it's kind of useless without doing that. Tighten it up all the way.
Yeah, I don't think that's the right one either, bud.
No.
I don't think that's the correct one.
No. Let me see here. Well, actually, it does hit it.
But is it? That's really got a weird angle on that bolt.
Yeah, that's odd. That's odd, isn't it?
Yeah, that ain't right.
So, I guess the thing to do is, you know, you can put this one back on it, and maybe Ronnie's got one. I'm not sure. I don't really know.
Truth be told, bud, I know it'll drive you nuts, but it ain't gonna bother me.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I don't understand that one. They must have made different ones back in the old days for these. I'm not a Ludwig aficionado, but I do know that this drum was dropped. Look at it's cracked here. I'll show everybody. Look at the cracks in the shell here. See right there? And down in here. So that drum was dropped at one point.
Some people's kids, I'll tell you.
So, what can you do about it? Nothing. It's not worth doing major surgery to it. And because it isn't hurting anything. It's still a great drum. It's just history.
Hey man, it's just the history.
I'm going to find you the right rod for this. I noticed one of his rods and that was driving me nuts. It was not correct. And that's not cool.
I'm too stretched out over the table here, I think.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, let's see. I'm not gonna just pinch that like that.
Well, that's all I got for you guys today. Give me a thumbs up if you feel like it, and tell your buddies about vintage